Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 30 of Yoakley of Vanilla Cities 2 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. After the last episode, we left the bottom of the valley of Yoakley very much complete. The centre of Benedict has been busy for a while now. The big box suburbs, of course, rebuilt to fix the flooding that happened here, which still needs more work, by the way. Starting industrial area is still knackered. And of course, the new town of Hollandaise lies down the southern end of the valley as well. But today, it's time for the sun to rise on a new build, west of Florentine, around the river bend, with a train line to feature, against a very cute farming backdrop, with a really fun area to play with today. So settle in everyone, and welcome back to Yoakley. Alright guys, so welcome to New Rural Town, for which, by the way, we do need name suggestions down in the comments below, so feel free to drop some down there. But the first thing we'll build around, of course, is going to be a train station. Makes the most amount of sense here, I think, doesn't it? So let's trim back our current infrastructure, and then we'll just pop that right on there. I do love that CS2 stations just snap to a track, very handy indeed. So this is the little Eastern European train station. I think we've used this one before, haven't we? We've got quite a few different train stations in the city now. And we've got the French one over here, have we? I don't think that's the French one, is it? I'll try to use a different one every time at least. I think we've used that. Yeah, we have used this one twice, haven't we? It is fine. Okay, I think we'll go for this Eastern European looking train station then. And then let's play with some nice road network design. Up and out the front of the building here. So I'd like to isolate the car parking on the front of the asset. And then we're going to upgrade these roads either side of that to some one-way parking road. And just soften this initial terraforming out that we've done. And then we can feed these roads down into our national road. There's something so satisfying about building rurally in any CS game really. But I think with CS2, with the road tools and the rural power lines, we can have a really nice convincing rural vibe, I think. Thankfully, Lane's little national road network here has given us the perfect frame. And I'll definitely allow this road the other side of the train station to connect back in as well, I think. Possible roundabout justification here too, which I think we'll go for. So because the service assets are quite large out here, I want to get them in early to make sure that any sort of car parking we want is respected on them. The Dutch fire station's pretty discreet, isn't it? I'm not bothered about going for a particular theme over here today. I think a lot of the low density residential will be Japanese housing. I do like it out in the countryside. But we'll pick up the smaller of our services here. How about the Dutch police station outside the station here? Again, I know we've just come out of a Dutch town, but we didn't use a lot of these service assets. Happy to see a cargo train coming as well. I don't know where you're going. From Milner to Denham. Okay. Let's actually go ahead and get the train set up here first as well. That'll be fun, won't it? So our passenger train line now extends out of Florentine from this platform, which essentially gives us the option now to actually see the full first-person tour from the new town all the way back to Central Benedict, which is very exciting. We've talked about that for a long time, actually. Nice to actually see that fully in effect. And with that extra train facility in mind, we're probably going to need a new rail depot here. Ignore the death, everyone's fine, it's okay. Simulation's just not valid at this point. It is just absolutely hammered. So we're actually over capacity somehow. 10 of 9. But it's basically full anyway, isn't it? So we got garbage issues as well? No, we got garbage trucks moving around. They're just stuck in traffic, I suppose, aren't they? Yeah, this area here has been a choke point since the Bridges and Ports patch. This junction doesn't like to play nice. So maybe we can stick a large roundabout in here. I'll have to rejig some of the building, but this is pretty generic zoning out here, to be honest. Not overly precious about any of this. Now, once we all get a little flow on, should hopefully be okay. We'll come back to that later in the episode and see if the roundabout has helped. Because we are seeing garbage collection vehicles stuck in traffic there. But Rail Depot, they did add a new one, didn't they? Yes, this one over here. So the smaller one gives us 8 vehicles compared to the normal 10. And I'd like this maybe just out of town, not right close to it. Maybe, you know, I'll do my best to satiate the train places first for appropriate gradient. Have it right parallel against the tracks. I think I'm happy with that here. I'll likely have to resketch this field texture here. I'll see. I'll just draw it first. That's a job for detailing, isn't it? I'm probably most fearful of the train police when recording Yokeley because the gradients are just probably the most intense of any series, possibly. Let's say outside of the Prussian Pete live streams, for those of you that remember those. The Ithaca map has been fairly challenging terrain. Let's also bring pipes and whatnot out here. So that's already hooked in, of course. And we also have national power line infrastructure right nearby. So potential transformer integration would be very nice. For the town. And again, we do have some different transformers now, don't we? Yeah, there's the Dutch substation. I get you in just next door to the fire there. Yeah, almost looks like a little kind of auxiliary building, really, doesn't it, to help support the main stuff. So let's bring our Chungus power lines like that. I think I definitely want to take that underground. I don't want to have them coming into the town like that. It'll look a little strange, I think. And then water, you guys can absolutely have your own water tower. We haven't used the Dutch one yet, have we? I love how integratable a lot of the more industrial service assets are into town centres. Because this totally just looks like some sort of monument, doesn't it, that you'd see in a town square somewhere. And sewage, of course, we will tap into just with the national networks here. So let's get some roads down to start holding in some residences here. There we are on... I think I do actually, for once, want to respect the terrain. So I'll allow these suburban roads to just follow the contour lines. And just where it starts to steepen, we can bring that back down into National Road. And I think I'd also like to cross over the river here. Now, which way I want to do that? Let's go ahead and open up this final tile. We'll probably use these 3 today. The terrain difference there is pretty nuts. So I think I'd probably like to bring a little National Road bridge out this way. Which I know is creating these little dams, but I don't think it affects the water flow, because we've done it before, but that wasn't the reason why everything flooded. We've also done the same with the train line over here as well. I like to think the water can flow underneath, almost like through a grate, but I do kind of like the structural look of doing this. I think it is making it flood, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to not do it. I need to learn your lesson with water on this map egg, because everything I've assumed thus far has failed terribly. So we will learn a lesson, because I think I can see that flooding there. There we go. We'll turn that into a bridge just to make sure we don't totally flood a brand new town, of course, which would be very Yokeley, wouldn't it? But returning to mastering the other side of the bridge, I wouldn't be against. I wonder if we can actually remove this connection. We'll just move the roundabout possibly down to that road instead. I think is what we'll do. And then can you just come straight across? Yeah, we can clear that there for an extra little layer, which I'll run parallel with the train line for a little bit. And then we've got some terrain mastering to do here. Let's essentially re-slope this to create a little valley. And then do a big soft hug all the way around the edge of it. That should just renaturalize it a little bit. Field boundaries I think we'll just do as part of our detailing, because we're going to have roads cutting kind of through the middle of fields here, which might look a little weird. And then this road, yeah, I wouldn't mind just taking that back to like a little national, just classic T-junction that you'd see on a country road here. But on this road coming up, we can have this as part of the town here. Some simple smaller houses down it. So it's just probably switch back to highway road for this instance actually, as we leave the town, let's say, as we come by these field boundaries. And then we'll feed this back to the main national highway. Just something like that. Chuck in a bit of asymmetry as well for everyone on this network, and that side for that one as well. I should be curious to see if anyone actually comes down here. I imagine they will as shortcuts back into Florentine without having to pass directly through the new town, in particular on this road. We'll see what the AI thinks of it, because this road back into Upper Benedict isn't vastly busy anyway, if busy at all actually. One car. Is that all? I guess maybe you're all heading down there, are you? I think you probably are. Okay, well that's fine. It's future prepping for expansion of other towns at some point, isn't it? And then this one will just have another little rail crossing here. It's not going to be vastly busy, we can afford to have a few of them. We'll start to bring in some population here so we can see people living. I mentioned a lot of the outer line districts I'd like as Japanese low density. So let's zone in some of this facing the road. Bring it in quite dense, so I wonder what that would look like here. It's going to massively deform the terrain against the river though, isn't it? So probably not. And we currently have some commercial demand spiking as well. I think the Japanese commercial will be too modern for a town like this. Again, for the older vibe, I'm almost always going to go with Northeast US commercial. It just does such a good job, doesn't it? Here I'd like to form some really small grid infrastructure using the alleyway roads. And then with this little formation behind the town hall here, I'd like to make this a real community hub. So let's bring in some path networks. Because we're in such a farming setting here, really, I'd like to see if we can play with some potential kind of farmers market vibes using some of the props. So we'll have our path come down to create connecting walkways. And I guess the most kind of market looking stall, maybe this one with the little wooden panels on it. I think we'll go with food stall number 3. Now let's place these in a little pattern just next door to each other. And then we'll just bring out a little road, or pathway rather, that can hold all of these. And the ones that delete, we'll just plop back in. And then I'd also like a little sand surface just beneath all these market stalls too. A couple of little bushes I think won't hurt either. Occasional tree if we can afford one in the anarchy settings. Bring these down to road as well, I think. Now really, you delete my stalls if I connect a path through you? I hate that so much. Please fix that ice float. Just let me place a prop where I want to, please. And then to continue the community hub vibe, we'll certainly have some actual functioning parks in here. Let's have... this is a bit of a playground section, Cat. shall we? We'll have chirplet parks. And then we'll do our own in here too. Bring some sand surface off into a shape here. I really do enjoy getting to play with such a smaller scale out in the country. It's easier to spend a lot more time in such smaller areas than it is when you're building a city centre. Even like this little outdoor sauna as well. A couple of seesaws. And then a sandpit at the back. A couple of random borders too. And the occasional tree. Don't want to overdo it with trees through here. Have some oaks sheltering our playground. Even I think a little hedge line to protect children from the traffic flow. Just on the back end of the park here. Cool. And then maybe some cycling facility. Some bike parking. Although, is there a vast point? Because they can't actually cycle here, can they? Yes, I know you don't have power. You actually need it though, don't you? So let's immediately arrange that. There we go. Talk into the town there. How are we feeling the Japanese housing now it's grown in? There's some terrain tearing happening at the back here. But I really do enjoy this zoning type. Especially these little white houses. I guess I'll put some cycling in. We might backdate. Is it possible if we downgrade these roads to regular? Definitely can't add cycling lanes onto highway, can I? Let me just absolutely guarantee that, yeah. I wouldn't mind people cycling here. It would just mean downgrading all this roadway to regular speed road, which I suppose I'm fine with. Maybe just down one direction. We'll see how much use it gets. Also, downgrading all of this road might actually encourage them to go via the new bypass we just set up. If this is a slower route for them now. And then as it leaves the town, it can resume its national highway infrastructure. Cool. So that's cycling infrastructure set up all the way back to the University of Upper Benedict up here. So I guess we'll see just how far, because in CS1 they will go for very far distances indeed, even walking, but especially on the bikes. So we'll see how CS2, just to map some people down there with it. At least they can get there via bike though, I'm happy with that. But I do expect this road to be picked up a little more now. Which it already is actually. See if it gets more traffic than the bottom road at least. So now we have our bikes in, let's add some bike parking for them. As part of our little community town centre over here. Let's see if we can find a nice position for this, just off of the road but still connected. Seems happy with that, doesn't it? And then we can just put our favourite surfaces down. Let's pull this one just up to the pathway as well, not past it here. And then we can start to landscape this little area here. Lots of tree lining. I do want this to be quite a landscape town today. Very kind of well kept, if you like, with a more historical centre, which, yes, I am on board. Northeast stuff in here, I think. I'm going to keep that going too. Let's bring in a touch more Northeast commercial in these blocks. I think I'll even go right up to the national road with them. So I think in and amongst the residential areas here, I'd like to perhaps instill the vibe that there is some maybe functioning farms operating in and amongst the town alongside the obvious massive wider outskirt of farms we have over here as well. So we'll bring a little hedge line so we can indicate a field boundary. And have this run all the way down here basically. And then for our crop tree, I think we'll use the London planes. And we'll bring these down to a 12-meter fill. And then run them as if they're, I guess in this instance with trees, it would probably be some sort of orchard. We'll also use the smaller bushes as well for perhaps more of a crop look, I suppose. Cool. And we could even bring in maybe a little barn. Although, do we actually have the barns on vanilla? No, I think we need to find it for them, don't we? Yeah, I think we do. That's fine then. Instead we'll use, I think, one of the UK sheds as a bit of field maintenance, if you like. We'll have a couple of these tucked in near the entrance, maybe a different size one as well. A bit of a tool shed, and we'll just draw a little well-trodden path up to these sheds here, where the farmer's obviously walking throughout the week. And I think this will quite nicely help break up our residential patterns. Getting some more along these areas too. In terms of the landscape, I did mention I'd like it to be quite highly landscaped, and because the river coming through the town is such a major feature, I think this would be a nice spot to have quite a bit of it. Wouldn't even be averse to some more Riverfront Park action down here, actually. Bouncy Castle Parks actually might be a bit too obnoxious. Actually, no, it's alright. I can deal with that. Super. That'll make that coast walkable. We do have some pretty insane gradients here. But I'd love to have this pedestrian pathway across the river. Perhaps even making use of this little island here. Which I was going to forest up, but now I've just seen where it can possibly cross. I think we're in business here. We could do a bridge. I don't think it's particularly necessary here. So we'll just go straight across like this. Do a little curve. Even have some nice detail on the island here as well. Little eatery perhaps, maybe. Sit by the river. I'll actually slope out this section here back up to the crossroads. Give that a little soften back onto the riverbank. Blend it all in. Then here, let's bring this whole island up to this one single layer. Even harshen those little cliff edges a little bit. And then we'll grab ourselves a little park. I guess food stalls really what I'm after here. Wouldn't come here during the wet season. Likely to some possible flooding. Couple of food stalls. Wouldn't mind a surface as well. Maybe some grass surface, I think. But not the entire island. And then we'll do a little landscaped row of hedges down here. We got some more terraforming to do there as well, haven't we? Let's just push that up a touch. Something like that, and then we'll grab some of our favourite commercial benches. And just have a little outdoor garden here. Place to come on a quiet Sunday. I wanna walk with the pram. Whatever you're feeling. And then just some more trees to fill out the rest of the land over here. Nice little way to use the terrain feature in the river, I think. And certainly I think this path wants to also just touch the road again here, doesn't it? Possibly on a pedestrian crossing, because I'll have some more houses here, but I think I'm going to align them to be kind of just parallel with this road here rather than facing onto it. I love that we've got a pretty horrific sight line here as well to the industrial mine, haven't we? These guys can see it from here. Really dominates the landscape. And you can't really see much else, can you? You can see Florentine, the other side of the field there. Now, the very distant pollution of the power station, also visible over the hills there too. A little bit further, we can just about see the towers of downtown Benedict, but not too much. Splendid. Cool. So our little town is beginning to form around this river now. Hopefully seeing some people. Yes, we are. Fantastic. Actually, even using the back end of the parking hall to get back on the pathways too, which I'm a huge fan of that. There's something, I think, a lot to be said for authentic walkable space, adding a lot to a build, which is a prime example of it right here, as they cut across. So we don't actually have any functioning farms in here at the minute, which I really would quite like. To have a look at production chain deficits, we're missing cotton and vegetables mostly. The other ones are in pretty enormous production data for. Okay, do the cotton fields get the horrific buildings spawning on, I wonder? So we could have one here, and maybe integrate it into this little spot of fertility. A lot of the farmland up through here will be aesthetic, but I'll try and get some functioning in where we can. So let's just bring out a little dirt road off the national highway. Doesn't have to be anything overly complicated. We'll throw in our cotton farm. So you're overlapping with the surface here, are you? Okay, well, I'll just delete the surface then. And then we'll build in some new surfaces around it. And I try to avoid more circular shaped fields where I find them. I do hope the radius is changed a little bit from perfect circle. And I think that, or this space here where we've deleted that surface texture is where we can just fill with textile farms. So I'll have another, where does this hillside take us? I was wondering here, we might as well grab these two middle tiles, hadn't we? Totally open up the space between Benedict and the new town here. So let's bring in some dirt roads to follow new field boundaries, which will eventually hold our textile farms. And we'll just follow this harsh drop off in the contour lines here. They won't have these as national roads, these are very much kind of like back dirt country roads here, if you like. I'm just going to push, because that radius doesn't quite match up with the back of the next field. Bring it up by a few tiles on its own little road. There's another one, and then where we do have a gap between the fields, this will be perfect for just a little bit more of the old faithful tree boundary detailing to fill it in. Tend to go with hickories and oaks for a tree lining. Gives us a little pop of colour with the autumnal palette there too, doesn't it? Which it feels like it's been winter forever. It really does. The lighting's so bleak in winter, but I suppose it is in real winter, isn't it? So I think it'd be really nice to integrate a lot of these functioning farms into the fake farm aesthetic here, if you like. I think we can get away with it. I mean, this is what I wish you could do. Like, have the functioning farm, but to this size and shape would be fantastic. I really don't like it's limited by a circular radius. I hope that's something that's changed at some point. But so otherwise, I think we have some nice ideas fleshed out here now, with our town centre to detail, with more commercial as and when it comes in. A little bit more growing in now. Bring the residential up into the river, lots of landscaping through here, and exactly the same on the other side of the river as well. And I'm thinking maybe, I don't like the rail depot just here by itself, so considering maybe a supply chains building. Something like the particle board factory maybe. It's very timber focused though, isn't it? That probably wants to be in a forestry area. Which we haven't done yet. Well, that's too lumber heavy to be here, I think. What is the lumber production like, actually? Oh yeah, there is very small bits of forestry, isn't there? Tucked into the farmland over here. Yeah, this is forestry. Okay, this is what I don't want. All this stuff. But otherwise, let's go ahead and do some detailing over our brand new farm, which don't forget we do need names for down below. So get them in there now. But grab yourself some snacks and we'll be right back with detailing time lapse.
Alright guys, let's have a little look over the new town, shall we? Which sits so nicely out in the countryside here, doesn't it? I love the field aesthetic that slowly crawls back to civilization over there. Very nice. We'll swing by the rail depot, which has had some sand surface drawn out around the connecting rails. Plus some further zoning and car parking. Plus some light prop detailing just behind here with a touch of surfaces to detail up some broken grid space essentially. But just a nice little outer line industrial district, provides some local jobs for people over here as well, of course. But coming into the town, which I really love the viewpoint here, such a small little tasteful village, isn't it? All centered around the river. It's been thoroughly detailed up now. There's little benches out here for people to enjoy the coast. I guess the shore, I suppose, isn't it? With wonderful sight lines of the trains passing by as well, which is always a treat to see, isn't it? People using the bridge back and forth. Some cyclists also making an appearance as well. And then further up here we have another water tower, which was needed, extended the surface down. Which is a really nice feature point for the town, isn't it? Our little apple tree orchards litter the back of the fields on both sides of the rivers with some nice little prop work behind. The outdoor sauna, which really works as a little kind of farm maintenance shed, doesn't it? Same over again here as well. Some cones and a little abandoned car behind it. And then the same across at the other side of the river. We have a few people walking on this bridge, which looks very nice when they do. I really like this whole little parkland here. Up into the suburb, you'll see some wasteland around the land that the pylons are sat on as they pass through the suburb here. And more of those fields. Sketched out using the hedges that spawn on the houses, with some natural entry points. Back over here as well. So a really nice use of Japanese suburb here. Flowing with some water. I think this was definitely the right asset choice here. More fields come down the hill here. Before the forest takes over before we come into our big farming district. We moved the tree here and just extended the surface, which really makes it look like we've got one giant continuous field, which I absolutely love that view. Very convincing, isn't it? So happy with that. There's more functioning farms of varying different crops through here. Plus a lot of car park with some expanded industrial prop detailing. Just as a little spot of interest out in the fields here. So there's something out, of course, with a gravel car park as well. There's cute rural pylons carrying power up from Benedict to here. Which has some really cool... I love that you can see the bridge from there too. Very nice. Before there's loops around back into the main town centre, which has had lots of parks placed around it, even through in the Dutch windmill, perhaps as a bit of a nod to the town's farmland heritage. And then went for some of that new old style US zoning, which wasn't perfect grid, so we've ended up with some alleyways here. But sketched it all out with some surfaces, car parking, a few props knocking about in here as well. In different instances. Car parking configurations. Little bits of detail and surface extension and whatnot. This we saw in the episode also threw in a Southwest Med Clinic over here as well, just so the town has a little bit of medical care. Going in, we have our little market up here, multiple children's playgrounds, a bit of bike parking. People walking through the market, which is wonderful to see. Around the little monument, which has also had some tile work done around the base of it too. Coming onto our police station, there's a UK pub in here. So it's pretty convincing now to make like a much older aesthetic in vanilla CS2 with all the packs. Especially the UK pubs and the northeast stuff. Because there's so much kind of wood and red brick visual available. So I'm really happy with kind of the older style town centre here. A pretty nice organic road network around the river. I think it turned out pretty nicely. Over here, a post office sits with our substation and fire station. With some alleyway detailing again, extension of services and zoning behind it. I just really like how it sits. There's lots of nice little cute small alleyways around the town. Taken into different places. Another little viewpoint up here, a natural rise in the terrain, just a monument, a couple of benches, hot dog cart and a gazebo. Providing wonderful views on a cool Sunday. And with a few people also picking up the bus stops here as well. Of course, there is a bus passing through this bit of the town to the industrial site, which we'll see if it's getting any use. Yeah, a few people commuting back into to here now, isn't there? Which is actually quite nice to see. That's much busier than I thought it would get, actually. So workers commuting to the factory here. And that bus line, which of course comes down this road, now stops in the town centre as well. I've also extended the train to the outside connection. So expect that first person train tour sometime soon. Because it is thoroughly available now. It's completed end to end. Some more of that older zoning out here, which I think sits really nicely as a bit of Main Street mixed use. We don't have very little commercial demand, which is why most of them are empty. But there are people living here, and once that commercial demand does tick up, these will eventually fill. But people can live there for right now. A few people waiting to use the station. But other than that, there's more little bits of alley and parking detail here where we didn't get the full zonings in that we want, but I'm really happy with how that turned out, to be honest. I think there's a argument to be made to almost embrace some broken zoning, isn't there, for the alleyways you can create with extendable surfaces. Really quite a lot of fun. And a wonderful town to sit directly next to Florentine. There's another little rural expansion for Yokeley. Otherwise, let's thank you all so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I thoroughly have. Don't forget to leave me lots of name suggestions for this town down below. Keep it on the egg theme, of course. We have Hollandaise, Florentine, Sunnyside Lakes. So let me know what you can come up with. We'll go with the highest voted next episode. Enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that bankroll these videos. If you want to get involved in that, Patreon, Instant Gaming, both the best ways to support the channel. And likes and comments on these videos do wonders to help them reach more people. Please do enjoy some cinematics of the new town today. And I'll thank you all again so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.